Sergei Pavlovich, look, guys, facts matter. Now, what you do with those facts is incumbent upon you and your team. You know, when I was growing up, when I would hear the word facts, when teachers, the great Mrs. Juris, Wood Middle School, when she used the word fact, it was always used in a context that this can't be disputed. Don't bother bringing your opinion or your interpretation. This is fact. That's what it always meant. It had meant an absolute. Then when I got older, I realized that it's just a word that you use. Like if you ever have a court case and somebody goes, well, these are the facts. Don't at all mistake that you just heard, okay, these things happened for sure. No, they're just a claim. I mean, fact is not as strong of a word as you would like it to be. But the reality and the integrity of our sport, and specifically the organization Ultimate Fighting Championship, was greatly held intact at the assertion of Sergei Pavlovich. And it doesn't mean him fighting Tom, and it doesn't mean for the interim championship. The fact that Sergei was the backup, that he was the guy to go in like a white knight if needed against either Jon Jones or Stipe Miocic was an integrity by the company. Backup. 3 months prior to Madison Square Garden, a young man named Tom Aspinall, in his second time selling out an arena in London, takes the microphone and he lays out a blueprint. He lays a blueprint to get to a championship match, to stand opposite the winner of Stipe versus Jones. And the blueprint was a round robin. It was himself versus two gentlemen who were going to headline the same weight class a month later in Paris. This is the blueprint. Michael Bisping quickly, boom, co-signs it. You guys take to social media. Everybody gets on board. And in front of the call out was a respect and appreciation that the call out happened. It was the first plan that anyone had laid out, possibly in UFC history. Are you ready for that statement? I cannot remember a time in a post-fight interview, particularly with the World Watch. That's what main event is. Every other fight, the audience just wants you gone. They just want it over with. Run the B-roll, do the packages, get the guy in the shark suit, get him the hell out of there, lock that door, and let's get it on. Right? That's what everybody wants. But at the end of the night, it's very different. At a main event, it's very different. What is said before you fade to black and roll the credits? It's a really important moment. Tom Aspinall laid out a plan, whether it sticks or not, and whether he had the authority to lay that plan out or not. It was the only plan, not just within the division, within any division. It was this great moment that Tom did. The plan had a problem. The plan and the fact pattern had a problem, which is the three-way round robin laid out. Didn't involve Sergei Pavlovich. And Sergei was the top guy. He was the top ranked guy. He had the most momentum. He was the boogie monster in Jon Jones's closet, according to you, right? According to narratives. And as much as the Ultimate Fighting Championship appreciated what Tom did, and as much as in this industry, you will generally get what it is you ask for. You will always get what you ask for if you have the mandate of the masses. Far more important than a ranking or a belt or what you did in your last fight, regardless of how many times you guys think that that's true. Most important thing that you could ever have on your side. It's not a gold medal, not an Abu Dhabi super fight. It's not a former championship. It's the mandate of the masses. As much as the UFC wanted to give this to Tom and got as close as they couldn't actually sign off on it. They couldn't make Surreal agree to fight Tom. They couldn't guarantee you a number one contenders match. They did, however, simultaneously, while trying to accomplish something there, because they listened to you guys, they did book Sergei Pavlovich as a backup fighter. It was just the right thing to do. If you're going to have a backup fighter, it's got to be Sergei. If you're going to turn to somebody to fill in that spot, I mean, let's even look at Tom. What a great job, and everybody likes him. He sold out arenas. He was 1-1 in his last two. That was just a fact. Sergei had stopped 6 men all inside of the first round. That was also a fact. So the UFC, when called upon did not go for the money. They didn't go for the draw. They stuck to the integrity of our sport, and they booked Sergei Pavlovich. It's very important that you understand that, because what's changed? I mean, right? I don't think that Sergei has anything more to do than 2 victories. And he returns right into a title fight. I'm not ready to tell you that he can get it. I'm just sharing with you, there are facts that greatly support the rise of Sergei and recognize his body of work. Facts. And he really needs to use those, because I don't know what's different. He showed a massive courage by agreeing. And don't forget what a backup fighter is, guys. The backup fighter that goes in, that's at weigh-ins. I mean, we always say, and we tell the media, well, if there's an injury or there's a sickness or something, we've got this in order, and here's going to be the guy. I don't remember a time that we ever deferred to that guy unless there's a problem at the scale. In fact, I can think of 2 times in the last month where we did not. Sergei Pavlovich was the backup fighter. He did not go in against the last man standing between Jones and Stipe. Gamrot was the backup fighter 3 weeks ago. He did not go in against the last man standing between Charles Oliveira and Islam. If at the weigh-in, where you have no time, the commission is going to close the door, insert your card right now, fumble it, move, do whatever you want, have the fast talking, get the paperwork out, get the pencil, get the eraser. But the commission is going to do this right now. In heavyweight, it's not as likely of a scenario where somebody is going to come in and not tip the scale at 265 pounds or under. So when Sergei gets this fight, he represented the least followed social media heavyweight to ever get a title fight in the modern era. And that was a big deal. I brought this to you guys. I said, man, this Sergei guy's got the baby face. He's doing everything right. People appear to like him. I mean, I had nothing but praise. He's a handsome guy. He's got the Russian. Was a wrestler up until 17, changed over the strike. I can tell you all about Sergei. I can tell you that because I've read about it. I've read about it because I care. I'm interested. I want to elevate him. It doesn't mean that I don't also reserve the right to be critical. Because the fact that he has 35,000 Twitter followers is the smallest any heavyweight contender has had since 2008 when Twitter came into creation. And it bothered me. And the few things that he does do on social media, I don't think are him. I don't believe it. I don't believe the tone or the cadence. I don't even believe it's the same gender. And I think that that's a massive miss in today's world. I would just bring that to you. The other side of this coin, right? If a tree falls in the woods and nobody hears it, doesn't make a sound. As annoying as that is, and as much as you want to go, yes, it does. No, it doesn't. What are you going to do? Fight me. Go ahead. What are you going to do? Do you see the problem? So Sergei goes out and he gets cleaned up. It's not good. This is a heartbreaking moment. All the momentum, everything that he had. But the other side of it, nobody knew. Nobody watched. He didn't tell anybody he was fighting. Nobody knows that he did fight. Nobody knows that he got knocked out. I have read every headline going into this card. I've never seen his name first. I have seen Tom Aspinall agrees to fight Sergei Pavlovich. Stipe Miocic is going to wait for Jon Jones. Sergei Pavlovich looking for a new opponent. Like, I've seen his name in headlines. I've never seen it first. I've never seen a quote that he did. Coming out of the fight, he has yet to make a statement. Now, I appreciate that consistency. I do appreciate that with Sergei, but I'm just sharing with you, there's a way to do this and there's a way to not, and the fact pattern actually is not that bad for Pavlovich. I could get him right back on track with a snap of the fingers. I could find those 2 fights. You got Chael. It's going to be more than 2. Well, if you give me the magic wand, I know, but if you gave me the magic wand, and I could have any 2 that I wanted, I for sure could present you with 2 that if he wins, he goes back into that situation. But I can't get him the fights. I don't even need to tell you the 2 names. I don't need to, because he lacks the ability to go out and get the fight. I never knocked out 6 men in a row in the first round. he has done something that I must admire. But so help me God, I'd have never been a backup fighter. I'd have never prepared for one of two men. One of them pull out and the other two doesn't come in. In fact, the other one sits in the front row and watches, healthy and there. But on the outside, because I didn't have the ability to hold a written and signed contract, I didn't have the ability to pressure and or manipulate a situation, that would have never happened to me. And when you do look at what happens with Pavlovich, there's a lot of respect for him. There's a lot of respect for what he did. He was not only willing to go in against one of two between the baddest dudes on earth. He was willing to fight either one of them, Stipe or Jones. You tell me the day before, I'll do it. He was not only willing to do that, he then had a third opponent, which is Tom. He didn't flinch on any of them. He would have fought Stipe. He would have fought Jon. He did fight Tom. You get credit for that. And he went out and he fought a fairly risky game. And he went out there and he fought with a guy that didn't have the world's best training camp. And when a guy doesn't have the world's best training camp, you instantly defer to he's not as ready as I am, and it's a mistake. You need to defer. If you know he's not at his best, you better bet your ass he knows it too. And when a guy knows he's at his best is when he's his scariest. That's when he has an urgency. That's where he not only wants out of there, he needs out of there. That's where in the first stanza, he's going to throw everything he's got. That was one of the mistakes that Sergei made against Tom. That's okay. We don't judge a guy's career based on a couple of moments of fighting. We don't judge a guy's career in standing off of one punch that he took. But there's facts, and some of them are helpful. And there's a number of them that are on his side. With the loss to Tom, just for perspective for you, with the loss to Tom Aspinall, Sergei is 1-6 in his last 7. Those are just knockouts, guys. For all I know, he won 20 before that. He's 1-6 in his last 7. Tom is 2-1 in his last 3. Facts matter. This is Sergei's job to tell the story. There's opponents out there. Sergei Pavlovich cannot allow Ciryl Gane, just for example, to step in front of him. In no possible fashion can I, if I'm Sergei, in no possible fashion can I be marked down for losing to a guy who you refused to fight in the first place. That dude that just got the jump on me came to your hometown, sat in your front row, and got ready for you to call him out, and you didn't do it, and you're not skipping the line in front of me. And those are all facts. But they're facts in a case that are not mine. I don't have standing in the matter to lay that out. Sergei Pavlovich must do that. Himself, not a friend that he gave his Twitter codes to. Not a sister or a gal or a mother. Himself. State your case, get your 2 fights, get back into the title shot. You have a better record than anybody. You have a better record than the undisputed champion who's only done it 1 time. He's 1-0. Your interim champion is 2-1 in his last 3. You're still the guy, according to the facts.